is a typical Florida summer day here, and it is storming, and the most crazy thunder just happened like 2 seconds ago. So I hope I don't lose power. Tonight we are going to be cooking with one of my good friends, Kelsey. She is an amazing chef, and she took over the blog this week as part of the collective series. Here she is. Hi! How are you?
Can you see me okay?
Yeah, I hate that with the split screen. I wish you were on top because then the comments weren't blocking you. But it's okay.
Okay. I just hope people can see me. I have kind of a interesting contraption to hold my phone up. So.
Yeah, no, people can definitely see you, and they can see me, and I'm going to be cooking with you. So if they can't see what you're doing, they'll see what I'm doing, and hopefully I'm doing it right.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Welcome. I'm so excited. I don't know about where you are, but it has been thundering like crazy.
Yes.
So I hope our internet connection is okay.
Me too. That's honestly what I was worried about, because I was like, well, it's gonna rain. I hope I don't lose power. Like, this would be fun.
Cooking my candlelight, except I guess not really, because I'd be by myself, and this whole thing wouldn't happen very easily. So I was just talking about how excited I was that I was going to be cooking with you, because we worked together a lot, whether it's with like workshops or you helping with my cooking classes, but I'm excited to be learning from you and make this recipe for the very first time.
I know.
So there are about 11 people in here so far, and if you guys are cooking along with us, we want to know. So pop in the chat box and just let us know I'm cooking or I'm just watching and I'm going to make it later. Kelsey, I will try and stay on top of the comments, so don't worry about trying to catch questions as we get them. And if you guys are tuning in and I happen to not see it in time, just keep bothering me until I see it. Sometimes we can get talking and Noelle, so cute. Sometimes we can get talking and
then we get distracted and then
yeah, exactly, like right now.
Yeah, totally. It's okay.
But that's what makes this so fun. It's just super casual and laid back, and it's just supposed to be a super fun way to share your expertise and your recipe with my community and anyone coming from your community. So I'm going to let you kind of introduce yourself a little bit. But for those of you who are tuning in, Kelsey and I have known each other for, I don't know, 3-4 years now?
Yeah.
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 And it's been so fun to watch you grow in your career and as a foodie and culinary extraordinaire. And if you are local, you have to go to New General and try the crepes, because Kelsey nailed it. And I know how much time and effort you put into those.
And I mean, I will say I'm not someone that's ever really made professional crepes before, so that was definitely like a whole new journey, and it was like super fun, and I have a great team that I can, you know, rely on, and so that was a really fun journey to kind of share with both of them. So
yeah, and something that I love about you so much is you really put your heart and soul into everything, even this recipe. I don't even know how many times you tested it, but I know it was probably a lot.
Cam has eaten, who is my husband, he has eaten so many of these, so he's like, what are we having for dinner? I'm like, what do you think we're having for dinner? So.
That's awesome. Well, you guys are in good hands. I'm going to be cooking along with Kelsey. She's going to lead the show, and if you have questions along the way, please let me know, and I will stay on top of those, and you can just watch what we're doing if you're following along. So, without further ado, welcome, and
welcome to my tiny kitchen.
Yeah, this is your thing now, so take it away.
So I see that, did you already shred your sweet potatoes, or whatever you have?
Okay, so I shredded everything but a potato.
Okay, because I was like, I haven't shredded anything yet, so I was just gonna go through and kind of explain. So I like to peel my sweet potato first, but I don't peel the Yukon. I just think the crispy skin on the regular potato is better, so that's why I like to do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel my sweet potato, and I already washed all these, so go ahead and do that. I should have done this before.
That's okay. That's what I do in my cooking classes, and it works out really well because it gives people a chance to catch up. So the cool thing about
a couple things, but I haven't done everything, so I was like, maybe I should just show this, but it's all good.
Yeah, and I just looked through the comments. A few people are cooking with us, so it's cool. Take your time. Just know that we have an hour, and after an hour, the Instagram will cut us off. But the great thing about Instagram Live now is it actually doesn't give you the option to save it, but you can post it to IGTV. So the ones we've done, like, a lot of people have gone back and watched them, which is fun. So I love that. Yeah.
Awesome. So I just did the sweet potato. I'm moving on to just peeling one of the large carrots that I have. You might not need 2 carrots. I know the recipe said 3/4 of a cup of carrot, but that's after when it's shredded. So sometimes it varies depending on the size. So I'm just gonna do 2 to be safe, but we'll just see.
So what if someone can't find Yukon Gold potatoes or doesn't have carrots? Can they play around with the ratio of shredded veggies?
Absolutely. I mean, you can also use a russet potato. You can also use zucchini, but I haven't tested that, so it might be
really watery, yeah.
So if you don't have carrots, you can kind of mix around. You could do more sweet potato and more russet potato and kind of mixture that. I just was really trying to get this to be super nutrient packed, so I really wanted
I love it.
And sweet potatoes, so
I'm all about that. So
absolutely. And I know that we're very similar in a lot of that, so that's super fun. So so I have my sweet potato peeled. I actually like to put a piece of parchment paper down because then it's easy cleanup.
That's a good idea.
And then you don't have to, but you already shredded yours, so.
Well, I still have 1 potato to go, but that's a good idea for the future because there were shreds all over the place as I was trying to wipe off my cutting board.
Perfect. And I actually shred mine on the bigger side of the grater. I think it just actually allows the latke to be a little bit crispier. Yeah, she's showing me right there.
So for those of you who have a box grater, you're going to want the bowls. There's also food processors that have a grating attachment, and you can cut the potatoes into smaller pieces and feed it through the food processor chute and do it that way too. But Kelsey's talking about these big holes on the box grater.
Yeah, exactly. I'm close. Yeah, so it's really just 1 large sweet potato. One sweet potato will actually give you a lot, so you don't need to buy 4 or 5 unless they're little.
It was funny. I did a cooking class with an 8-year-old the other day, and it was so much fun. But we were doing some different things like grating and things that really worked out your arm. And I said, yeah, the greatest thing about cooking is that it works out your arm muscles too. And I go, are you feeling it? And she goes, yeah, I am. Where are you feeling it? My shoulder, my forearm.
That's awesome.
It was so cute.
All right, so I'm almost out of cup.
And for those of you who are cooking along or going to cook later, the sweet potato was definitely the hardest for me to grate. So maybe you would want to start with that first and then work your way to the easier, more softer vegetables, like the Yukon Gold potato.
I'm actually a little over a cup, but it's not a deal breaker, to be honest. So.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and add the sweet potato. I have my bowl, and so this is the nut milk bag, or if you have a cheesecloth or something that you can release a lot of liquid, but then all your stuff's going to stay dry. So I found that this is like literally the best way to make these, because I'm not having to pick all of the pieces of sweet potato off the towel or off the paper towel or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add this.
Okay.
And then I'm going to leave. I actually add them all at the same time and then squeeze them. But just for time's sake, let's go ahead and start. All right, so I'm going to cut mine.
It's funny. So what, you're doing the carrots now?
Yeah, I'm shredding my carrots still, so you can go ahead and add all your stuff and then squeeze out as much as you can. And then, if you want to dry it off with a tea towel after, that's fine. It just shouldn't retain that much more moisture. So.
Okay. I still have one potato to peel too. It's funny, I use the nut milk bag for like blender juices, and you can tell which bags I've used for that and which bags are for my nut milks, because one is staying green and the other ones look like brand new.
Exactly. And if you ever make like a golden milk, like almond milk or something, if you add turmeric to it, because it might turmeric is literally the worst for any kitchen that's white, because you will like stain everything.
I know. I mean, it does come out eventually, but still.
Alright, I'm almost there. This is something like kids can do too. Like, this is so fun. Like, you can just have them shred all the vegetables, and it doesn't take very long. And
so for people who maybe wanted like a shortcut, they definitely could not buy shredded carrots bagged at the grocery store.
No,
I wouldn't dry.
I think it would be too dry. It still needs a little bit of moisture to kind of hold together. But the flour mixture that we add to it kind of helps as a binder, and then it creates, like the consistency so it stays.
You know what you could do with these? Like, you can make like an egg benedict, and these could be like your egg muffin. I mean, there's so many things you can do with these.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think another thing is the difference between like latkes and like a hash brown. Hash browns don't have any flour or egg in them.
Right.
And typically latkes have flour and egg, but we're making ours vegan, so there's no egg in it. So that's just, I feel like people ask me that all the time, like, what's the difference? And like, that's the difference. So they're still pan fried, but it's just one doesn't have flour and egg and the other one does.
Got it. And these have more like different kinds of vegetables in it than just potato.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to clean this up. This is done. Yeah, so I only needed like one large carrot and like half a Yukon and like almost less than half in my sweet potato.
Okay, so you have all your veggies shredded?
Yep. And so now I'm going to just squeeze as much liquid as you can out of this, just because the more liquid you get out, the crispier the latke will be. So this is probably the most time consuming besides the shredding of everything. Because once you get it all squeezed out, you just throw everything in the bowl and then it's ready. So
I think in the recipe you suggested a cast iron pan. If people don't have a cast iron pan, what kind of pan do you recommend?
Just a non-stick. Just you want something that, I mean, you're going to have to put a decent amount of oil in it. But you just want something that it's not going to stick to the pan, because then it will literally be a mess. So.
Right. Yeah. And no matter how much oil you put in there, like if you used a stainless steel pan, it would still stick.
Yeah. So I love using cast iron. Shout out to Eddie, who is the cast iron.
I need Eddie to teach me his cast iron ways because it still intimidates me.
Good. He's like literally, and he's gonna kill me. He's like loves them so much. He's like collected so many. But he's amazing because he like reseasons them and like he knows so much about them. So he always gets on me when I'm not cooking with mine because everything tastes better in it. So I'm like, okay, Eddie.
See, that's my problem. It's like having fiddle leaf trees. They look really pretty and they're supposed to be low maintenance, but for some reason I can never keep up with them. And I feel like it's that same kind of thing with a cast iron pan.
It's mostly just like making sure it stays seasoned and then it doesn't like rust and all that kind of stuff. So
right.
All right, so I'm getting close.
Yeah, mine's looking pretty dry. So people should just discard the juice, right? I mean, there's nothing you can really do with it. It's just a lot of starch.
Yeah. Okay. Mine's a little wet, so it's really good.
Oh, for those people cooking along, do they need to be preheating a pan?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Just because you might get a little smoky behind you if you.
Okay.
Gotta add a bunch of stuff in the bowl. Alright, so I'm getting close.
And for those of you who are just joining, we are making a recipe that Kelsey shared on the blog this week. So if you go to fitlemeeats.com and the latest recipe, you can find the recipe there. And I realized I've been pronouncing it all wrong this whole time. I've been saying latkes, but it's definitely not that.
Latkes.
Whoops.
It's really funny. Kim and I were watching, I don't know if you know the show Queer Eye. Are you familiar with that show? So last night, out of all episodes, he's making latkes for the person that they're like helping or whatever, and I was just laughing because I thought it was so funny. It's like, I'm making these tomorrow.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, so we have all of that. I'm just gonna like lightly dry mine with a paper towel in the bowl just to get excess moisture off.
So you put the veggies back into your bowl?
I actually put them into a larger bowl.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to watch and all that. Okay, so these are extra dry. All right, now I'm going to start chopping the green onion.
How many green onion?
So it should yield about half a cup is really like what I like. If you want more, you're more than welcome to. Most latke recipes use regular onion, but I actually like the flavor of it a little bit more with all the herbs that we're gonna add. So you can use a regular onion if you want. It will be a little more water. So you have to be careful.
Yeah, I like the green onion. It's a little bit milder, and it doesn't totally overtake the flavor of the veggies.
And I go all the way down to the part.
So how much of the green onion part do you use? Do you use all of it, or do you discard some of the green onion?
I like to use all of it just because I know people, you can like re-grill them if you don't go all the way down. But I honestly think the whole thing has great flavor. So.
Yeah, and the white part is going to be more mild, and the green will be a little bit more pungent. So if anyone is sensitive to onion, you can steer more towards the white part too.
Exactly. So we got about half a cup. So we're going to add that into our mix. All right. And then we're going to do our herbs.
Okay.
So I have some fresh dill. And then I just like to just finely chop the dill. I was looking through the dough that was in my fridge. It kind of went sad, so had to.
So 2 tablespoons of dill and 2 tablespoons of parsley, right?
Yes, and I mean those again are still like, if you want to add more dill, you can. If you want to
right.
parsley forward, you can. So honestly, I love herbs, so like the more herbs, the better to me. The 2 tablespoons is really just like a rough estimate.
So I cannot get dill at the grocery store, so I'm gonna use chives and parsley. That'll work, right?
Yeah, that'll be great. Again, and if you didn't have fresh dill, you can use dry as well. That's still totally fine. Maybe go a little bit lighter on the dried dill if you're using other herbs.
I always tell people it's about like a 1/2 to 1 ratio. So if it says 2 tablespoons of fresh dill, I would add like 1 tablespoon of dry.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on to my parsley. How are we doing on time?
We're good. We have we're 20 minutes in, so we have about 40 minutes left. And with parsley, you guys who are watching, you always want to cook with Italian parsley, not the curly parsley. Honestly, it should just go back to where it's from because it should never be used, in my opinion. It's a little bit more bitter, wouldn't you say, the curly parsley? So for flavoring, you really want to use the flat leaf Italian parsley.
I also think the curly parsley kind of looks cheesy to me.
Yes, it's like so 90s.
I mean, it's still parsley, but I think it looks a little cheesy.
Yep. Totally agree. I remember my mom growing up, I asked her one time why they put parsley on all of the plates. And she goes, oh, it's to freshen your breath. And so I would eat the parsley after I was done eating. And it was not like a good aftertaste at all. But and I don't know if it worked either.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I'm going to add just a little more.
Noelle goes, seafood buffet status. Totally.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we're almost there. And for this, I know we're just adding the herbs, but I like to add the salt at the last ingredient.
Okay.
We're about to roll them, just because salt will just release water, and so you're trying to not have any liquid in there. So the less liquid you can have in there, the better. So I just wait to do salt at the very end, just so you can move quickly. And
good call. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now I'm gonna do half a lemon zested.
Okay.
And if you can, I like to buy organic lemons. I know some people are just like, why? But just because a lot of times there's black on the outside of non-organic lemons. So, just pick a preference. If you don't, it's totally fine. It's still lemon and it tastes delicious.
Yeah, and you can, at the very least, rinse it off and kind of roughly dry it off with a towel too, and that'll help remove some of that waxy layer.
So we got that going.
So could people use lime zest instead of lemon?
Maybe. I haven't tried that. I mean, I think it would still taste good. I just think lemon is really fresh in this. So, but
lime is more dingy.
Yeah, the sweet with and the carrot might actually go really well together. So yeah, that's totally fine. So I'm gonna squeeze about half a lemon, depending on the size. It's really about like 2 teaspoons.
Okay.
Which roughly is like half a lemon.
I don't like to measure, so I'm hoping
I'm
getting my ratios correct.
I just put stuff in the bowl. Okay.
I think I may have been a little over ambitious on the veggies, but it'll still be great.
Okay, cool. Have extra.
I'm gonna be eating these for days. I'm gonna have to give them out to neighbors.
Love it. Okay, so let me wipe this off. Now I'm gonna make the little chickpea paste. So we're gonna take 1 tablespoon of the garbanzo flour. So I have the same one as you, so that's fun.
Perfect.
So I like to mix this into like a little bowl.
Okay.
A little bit of water.
How much water?
Tablespoon.
Okay, so a tablespoon of each.
1 tablespoon chickpea flour, 1 tablespoon water. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's thinking about. I actually tested this and I was like, I didn't think it was gonna work, but then it did, and I was like kind of shocked. But similar to like a flax egg or a chia egg that's in like a lot of vegan cooking.
Yeah.
I made almost the same thing, but not as much water with chickpea flour. So it almost is like a paste, and it helps kind of like act as a little bit of a binder when you mix everything together.
That's a really good idea. Like if you're making fritters or even like a veggie burger, I think that would be kind of a good like egg replacement.
Exactly. You don't want to add like a ton of water. You want it to kind of be thick.
Okay.
I mean, a tablespoon's good. If you need to add a little bit more flour just to get it thick, you can. But it should be like
this is like the consistency of mine. Is it too thin?
A little bit. I would add just a little bit more chickpea flour.
And people really couldn't substitute this flour, right? Or could they? Like with a different kind?
So if you didn't want it to be gluten-free, for something like if you don't have chickpea flour, almond flour, you can use all-purpose flour.
Okay.
And it would be the same. I would just not recommend adding the water to it. I would just, the same amount of flour the recipe just use for the latkes.
Yeah. Okay. So do we add it to the bowl?
I'm going to add the other stuff first and then do that right before and then the salt.
Okay.
So 2 tablespoons of almond flour. Latkes typically have matzo meal, or you can use breadcrumbs. So that's kind of what gives it some of like the texture when you're eating it. And
okay.
So 2 tablespoons almond flour, and then I'm gonna add 1 more just plain chickpea flour to the bowl. Then we have our garlic powder, which I'm doing about 2 teaspoons of that. And also the garlic is preference. Like if you like things garlicky, the 2 teaspoons is going to be good. If you want to, you can do 1. I like garlic and onions, so I do too.
Same. So does Noelle. Every time she helps me for meal prep, I always know, even if it's not on my shopping list, bring the garlic powder and the onion powder for Noelle.
Noelle, yes, exactly. Noelle and I both love.
We love you, Noelle.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm moving on to black pepper. I have fresh cracked pepper. I'm just gonna. I just do this.
How much garlic or onion powder did you add?
No onion powder. Onion powder will be for, the sour cream. Got it. So my recipe says a fourth of a teaspoon of black pepper, but I honestly just go until I think it's enough.
Yeah.
Kim's laughing at me because he's like, that's not a really good recipe. Alright. I just think a nice heavy amount is good. We just want everything to be really seasoned. Okay, I think I have everything. Lemon zest, yep. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and add the chickpea paste. And then we probably should now start to get our, maybe our pan on low.
Okay.
Not like super hot, but get it on low. We still gotta roll them a little bit, so it might take us a minute.
Got it.
Okay. Now I'm gonna add the salt. So a little less, 3/4 teaspoon. I have pink salt, and honestly, I think pink salt for this recipe, it's pretty salty. So if you have regular salt, maybe do, I don't know, I think pink salt is salty, no one thinks differently, but so I do about 3/4 of a teaspoon of the pink salt.
Okay.
And then mix it all together. And so it can kind of start to like feel like, you don't want it to be, it's gonna look dry, but as you start to mix it, it's gonna come together. And I honestly like to use my hands more than a spatula.
Yeah, because that chickpea paste will kind of stick to whatever it grabs onto, so it's kind of like you have to massage it in there.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, these smell so good. I cannot wait to eat them.
And honestly, chickpea flour by itself doesn't taste good. So
yeah. No, it does not.
Does not taste good. So it's really like you have to flavor it with stuff. So, and sometimes it can be even a little gummy too. So that's why I was like nervous to like add that to this, but it ended up working, and I was like super happy.
Yeah.
All right, so it's kind of just more like you can roll it into like a little ball kind of thing going on.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna wash my hands.
All right, so we're just letting you know, 30 minutes in.
Perfect. We're doing pretty good. I'm gonna start getting my pan hot. Good.
Guys, look how good this looks.
Yay!
I could just eat it with a spoon like this. I think it smells so good.
Well, you added chives to yours, so I bet yours is like super fragranty.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have my sheet tray that just has a piece of parchment on it.
Okay.
We're not going to cook them on the sheet tray. I just like to roll them onto the sheet tray. So I take around kind of like a small meatball size.
Because they're pretty fragile, right? So you want them to be smaller and more manageable. If they're too big, they'll be too weighty and heavy and break apart.
Yes, exactly. So I just like to roll them. So instead of pan frying, if you did want to bake these, you could. They just won't be as crispy, or, I mean, who doesn't love, like, you know, butter and potatoes? So you can also bake them. It'll be different, but they'll still be good.
Yeah.
If you have the time to pan fry them, I would.
The key with baking them, I would think, would be making sure they're in the oven long enough to kind of dry them out a little bit.
So
because you don't get that like seared crust, so you don't get that barrier to kind of lock everything in there.
Exactly. So I've actually tested it where almost like you put, it's a good amount, not like a good amount like it's overflowing, but like a good amount of oil on the pan, and you push them all down, and then you bake them, and then like halfway through you flip them, so you're kind of getting like the pan sear without the pan sear, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Alright.
So how many should you get about?
I would say it should be around like 10. It might be 9, it might be 10. Just depends on how big you're making them.
Yeah, I was definitely over ambitious with the veggies, but that's okay. They're holding together. I already have 6 little meatballs and like maybe a third of my veggie mix.
Oh no!
That's what I get for not measuring things out.
You're gonna have so much to eat.
That's why I like to make these for like all of the recipes that you guys share for the first time when we do it live, because I think it's fun. Like if I mess up,
I didn't know.
Yeah. If I mess up or like it doesn't turn out quite like yours, it's okay. It's still gonna taste good.
That's totally fine. I think that's almost better, because then it's like, okay, people like, you know, you're trying to do the first time and it doesn't come out 100%. It's like recipe testing is like, it's a thing, man. You gotta
and people.
Stuff.
Yeah, I get emails all the time of people, you know, saying, "Oh, I made this recipe and it doesn't look as good as yours, or it's like slightly different." And the thing is, like you said, recipe testing, you make the recipe so many times that it's like you just know it by heart. And and it's okay if it turns out a little bit different. I mean, everyone kind of, you know, has a little bit of a different spin.
Exactly. Okay, so I've got around 10. One's a little small.
I'm going on number 12. But they're all holding together. I'm so impressed.
That's amazing. That's honestly the best. Alright, so I'm probably gonna, once I'll wait for you to, I'll just clean up a little bit, but I'll probably move my phone over there just so you can like see, because you're gonna be too far away.
I know, I'm gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
Noelle, obviously I'll bring you some tomorrow. We're meal prepping tomorrow.
Oh, fun.
She brought me this amazing Sweet Potato Latkes cake that she made with a Simple Mills baking mix, and it was so good.
That sounds like a Noelle cake.
Oh my gosh. I drool over all of the baked recipe things that she posts on Instagram. It's amazing.
I know, she makes some of like the best stuff. It's so fun. Like every time, hey Noelle, I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna eat some of that, right?
I know, right? Okay, I'm finally done with my mix. I ended up with 36, 9, 12, 15, but it's okay.
Perfect! Oh, I just realized, Carly.
What?
I just realized we didn't add the baking powder yet.
Oh, we didn't.
No. Oh my god.
That's okay. It's still gonna turn out great. No big deal. But for those of you that are cooking later, don't forget the baking powder.
Don't forget the baking powder. It's pretty important. So we'll see how these turn out. All right.
It happens to the best of us.
That's right. Okay. So my pan, I know is hot. This is gonna be interesting without the baking powder, but it should be fine.
So explain to everyone what the baking powder does.
So essentially, it's like kind of acts kind of like cornstarch in a sense. So it kind of just really like holds it together. So,
It basically just holds everything together. No big deal.
So hopefully my pixie flour will save me. And
yeah, but that's why searing it is so important, because I feel like you can kind of get away with stuff like that sometimes. If it's really delicate, as long as you give it time to get a really good crust, it kind of does the work for you.
I don't know if you can see. Kim's helping me because I can't really see. Okay. All right. So I like to take them. Let me just move my here a little bit. So my pan's decently hot. I have a good amount of oil in here, which if some people don't like, again, cooking with that much oil, you can always bake them. So.
And what you can do too, when you take it off the stove, you can put a paper towel on a plate and put them on the paper towel, and it will soak up the oil a little bit too.
Okay. I'm gonna let my pan get a little hotter. Hopefully the people at home added baking powder. Unlike me, but that's okay.
Just follow the recipe as it says on my website.
Yes. I was like, yep, I knew I was forgetting something, so it's all good.
It's going to be awesome. They're going to be great. I mean, look at these. Look how well mine held together, even with all of those extra veggies and no baking powder.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so my pan's looking in there.
So when we add these to the pan, are we smushing them down at all?
Yes.
Okay.
So I like to add it and then smush it. Okay. And then it might stick because, well, once again, we didn't have the baking powder, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe just put a little bit of oil on your spatula.
Oh my gosh.
And that will help you.
Just spray it with some cooking spray, guys.
Yeah.
And you probably don't want to overcrowd the pan, right? Because you need room to flip.
Exactly. So I'm only doing 2 at a time.
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe the smell. It smells so good.
So you really don't want to touch it once you put it down. You want the edges to kind of even though the little fringe of potato that comes off, you kind of want that to get crispy. And then once it's crispy, then you flip it.
Okay.
So,
and you want it to be sizzling, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You want it to be hot right when you put the mixture on. So it's should sizzle right away. It shouldn't be slow.
One of the tools that I really like and I've used a lot lately is I forget the technical term for it, but it's an icing spatula. And it's really thin. So for something like this or my baked falafel recipe that's kind of delicate, it's really easy to flip because one, it doesn't take up a lot of space in the pan and it's kind of flexible. But you don't have to be worried about cutting into the patty.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was Cam turned my phone so I can't see you now. He's FaceTiming from his phone to my phone so I can. But I love an offset spatula. The best for cookies too. When you're trying to make cookies, that's the best. Okay.
Oh, that's what it's called. Offset spatula. Yes. So I'm thinking we do, once we flip these, we can leave them alone and then head back over to our station and make the sour cream just to make sure we don't run out of time, right?
Perfect, yes.
Okay, so did you flip yours yet? You're flipping it now.
I'm about to, yep. Oh, we might need a little more time, but... Whoop, that one kind of fell apart. Oh, they're making
But look how good that one looks. It's so golden brown and crispy.
Okay, Are yours holding together? Because mine
are doing really good. Look at these. Let me zoom. Can you see?
Oh, wow. Yeah, yours look way better than mine.
They look like little crab cakes.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, you know, it is what it is. Come on.
I think for those of you who are cooking these for the first time too, something that I've learned the hard way whenever I'm making veggie burgers, especially, making sure you like pack it as tight as you can.
Yeah.
Because the like the veggies or the grains, whatever it is that's in your mix, can fall apart really easily. So you want to like give it some reinforcement too. That looks bomb. Those look so good.
Yay!
And they smell amazing. Look at these. Yum!
Yours are so good.
Okay.
So you're better than me at making these.
That is not true. That is not true. I have the benefit of the offset spatula. It's not me, it's the spatula.
Okay. And my spatula is not as pretty as yours. So. Alright, I'm going to take this one off. Are you ready to make the sour cream?
I'm so ready. We have about like 10 minutes. So that's perfect. Perfect timing.
Alright, I might have Cam watch this while I go through that. Yeah.
Chef Cam will step in here. There you are. I tried to be silent this whole time.
Watch that while I make the sour cream.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my kitchen mate, Deacon, can't help me the same way yours can. He just cleaned up my scraps from the floor.
He's so cute.
Okay, sour cream.
Okay.
What are we doing?
So I'll show you which brand. So honestly, the sour cream recipe or the herb recipe, I think really depends on your sour cream. Because sometimes the vegan sour cream can be almost a little sweeter than like dairy sour cream. So I have vegan sour cream. That's from Foragers, not sponsored, but just a brand that I like. If you have regular sour cream, you might want to wait to add the salt and the lemon, just because it's probably going to already be pretty tangy. How do you do with that?
I've never actually bought vegan sour cream, and Sprouts only had the Good Karma brand.
Okay.
Have you tried that kind?
I haven't. I think, because I found this at Whole Foods, so honestly, Whole Foods only had like 2 options, which I was kind of surprised. I think Kite Hill just came out with a brand of sour cream.
Okay.
But I actually liked the ingredients better in the Forager than I did the Kite Hill. So.
Foragers is by far typically my go-to when it comes to dairy-free alternatives for like, especially for yogurt.
Yeah, good.
Like I have a dairy-free tzatziki sauce, and I make it with the Foragers cashew yogurt because it's mild and it's not like some dairy-free alternatives. Even this one here, I just tried it. It has like I don't know, like a kind of like a powdery taste or some kind of residue aftertaste that can affect the overall flavor. So if you are dairy-free, try Foragers, and also like play around with different substitutes before you totally write off the entire thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so latkes are traditionally served with like sour cream or even applesauce. But typically latkes are just potato onions, so the applesauce is a nice sweet complement to that. I personally like this recipe with sour cream because I think it's a nice balance of like tangy to like a savory item. So
what are you chopping? Because I need to be chopping too.
Chopping some dill and parsley.
Got it. Okay.
And I already have my chives chopped just because I was like trying to get ahead. And then my sour cream's already measured out.
Okay. How much sour cream?
I did a cup.
1 cup.
If you're not gonna like serve this to a big family or something, you can just do a half a cup.
Okay.
But you might eat all of it. So. How you doing over there? Doing great.
Work of art.
It's like the grill master, but instead the cast iron master back there.
Exactly. Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. Totally. Okay, so I've added my herbs.
Okay.
Then again, this is still like based on preference of like if you like herbs, if you don't want super strong flavor of herbs, you don't have to put as many. I think the chives in this are pretty essential just because it I think rounds out a lot of the flavors that complement the dill and the turkey. So.
Yeah, and we're basically just looking for a way to elevate typical sour cream. So you can really do that a lot of different ways, but it's a great way like by adding fresh herbs and spices into something that kind of makes it taste like you made it completely from scratch, but you didn't. I mean, you bought your sour cream and then just put a whole new spin on it.
Yeah, and if you don't have garlic powder, you can always use fresh garlic. Even for the latkes, add fresh garlic. I just honestly, when I made this recipe, I didn't want to chop up a lot of garlic, so I just opted out to go with powder.
Okay, so how much garlic powder?
I'm doing half a teaspoon.
Okay. And same for onion powder or different?
Onion powder is 1/4 of a teaspoon.
Some are better than others.
Some are better than others. Okay. So I added a little bit of black pepper, and then I'm just going to do a pinch of salt.
Okay.
And then just a little bit of lemon. You can even do lemon zest in this if you wanted it to be a little brighter.
Smells so good with the herbs and the lemon. Yum.
And again, like adjust the spices, the salt, the garlic, the onion. All of that is really based on preference of your taste. If you like things really garlicky, again, add more garlic.
And you can taste as you go too. So like taste it after you add an ingredient and see like what you need to add.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think Sam is close.
Okay, are we plating?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab a new plate. More dishes, but that's okay. We gotta make it.
I think that's cool. Coming!
Yum. 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 These look so good. So as Kelsey is finishing up her plating, for those of you who maybe are just tuning in or want this recipe, you can go to fitreadyeats.com and check out the recipe that Kelsey is sharing with us. And of course, you should always go follow her work. You can follow her personal account, Kelsey _Morel, or she's also the head chef at New General, a local coffee shop cafe that is amazing. So you can check out all of her food creations at New General Store on Instagram. And she shares a lot of recipes there too. So
Yeah, come get some crepes. So
yes, and come get some crepes.
Vegan gluten-free crepes. And Cam was my second-hand person.
Those look so good.
Yay!
I'm gonna take a bite. I can't wait.
Me too. I hope they. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yours probably came out a little bit better because mine kind of fell apart, but you know.
So good. So good. I'm like, the balance of the richness from the searing in the pan and the lightness of the shredded veggies and then the freshness and zinginess of that sour cream is like hitting all of my sensations at one time. So good. So good. You killed it.
Thank you.
I'm pumped that I have a ton of extra little patties ready to go now.
So the texture really is like, you want it crispy on the outside and then kind of like, you don't want it to be like mushy on the inside, but ideally it's like, it's just congealed together. So it's not like you're eating, you know, just mush. So
yeah, it's like kind of flaky. A lot of times with veggie patties, they'll be really dense because of beans or something like that. But with the shredded veggies, it's just like really light and airy, and doesn't like weigh you down, which I love.
Yes, the crispiness on the outside is key. So that's really what like the texture of like crunchy and everything comes together.
So someone said delicious. They were cooking along with us.
Oh, good. Who was it? I can't see any comments, so.
Her Instagram is HCH386. Someone said mine kind of fell apart. Side-eye at Cam.
That's not surprising.
It seems like Cam has a lot of fans on here right now.
I can see that.
Also, someone said that, let me find it. Tofuti has the best vegan sour cream in her opinion. So,
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't tried that one either, but that's one you can try too. Oh, yeah. Melissa. That's right. Melissa's one of my good friends, client. She does some of my cooking classes. She's amazing. So,
she also cooks. She's also at New General too, so you can come and see her.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Anything else you want to say in the last minute before we wrap up?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me, and this is so fun.
You're welcome.
So much. This is so fun.
Thank you for joining. Well, we'll have to have you on again soon and share one of the other million creation ideas you sent me.
Love it. That sounds amazing.
With how much you cook, I'm always so impressed with how the ideas just are like free flowing in your brain.
Honestly, the quarantine really gave me a lot of space to make what I've been wanting to make of just like stuff. So it's been super fun to kind of like, okay, now I can show somebody like what I've been making or trying to test recipes, or I still wanted to attempt to make bread and all the things. So
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And if you tuned in late or want to watch this again, I'm going to share it to my IGTV so you can go back and cook with us and watch it at any time. And again, follow Kelsey at Kelsey_Moreau and at New General Store. And until next time, we will see you later and happy cooking. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everyone.
Yay.
Bye. Thank you, Kelsey. You're amazing.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, Cam. Bye.
Bye.